Hello there. So today what I want to do is start off this playlist of just introducing and showing like a super quick of a bunch of different game engines. So what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to fire up GDevelop and I'm going to start with the 2D game engines. So today, I don't need anything here. That's fine. Sorry, there's an update here, and I'm just going to close that right now. I don't need to worry about it. So what I have here is a game that I was working on, and it's actually perfect to show you the interface with. So what we have here is, like any game editor, you have a graphic user interface that comes up. On this side is basically, in this game editor, it happens to be your properties. In the middle, it's your stage, and I'm calling it a stage. Some call it a scene, some call it just the main window. You can call it whatever you want, but I'm calling it a stage because it's where you put all of your actors and all of your stuff comes together there. So that's why I'm referring to it as a stage. And so you'll build your scene here from time to time. Now in GDevelop, so you have your properties, and you can open this up. There's things that you can get here, extensions you can add, properties of the project, etc. Basically your project settings, your stage settings, all that stuff is over here. In the middle here is your like I said, your stage. Over here are your objects, and then you've also got object groups. Now this can be organized. I could bring this down, and I could put them, I could make it like half the, so I don't actually want to do that, but I just did it anyway. So my groups is above my objects. I actually like to have my objects outside of my groups. If I can do that, I just kind of messed it up here. There, that's how I want it, right? Like that. So I like my objects here and my object groups here, so that way I can organize. So here I've got my global groups and my scene groups. So these, anything in here, any groups that I've created will be part of this scene. Up here in the global groups, anything I put here will be part of the whole project. So I've got a scene here. I've got another scene here. So this scene, actually I should have started with that, but anyway, that'll be my game menu. So I create all my menu events, buttons, things to proceed there. And then this second tab, the events tab, is always your logic. So if we go back to the leave space dock scene, we've got my ship here, which is an object placed in the scene. And then for events, I've got some events tied to it. So we'll go back to the main stage. So underneath the stage, in GDevelop, you have your instance lists. Now, often what you will have is you'll have your asset list in a lot of game engines down here, and that would basically be taking this scene objects, dragging it down here, and having it underneath here listed. But GDevelop is slightly different. However, you still have that very unified layout of an editor, and it's pretty easy to find your way around. If you've been in any other editor, you'll just figure out what's what, sort of. So over here, well, how GDevelop works now is it has objects. This SSC ship object is, I believe, if I double click on that, this is just an image object. It started in this game, I was trying to work with a 3D model, and then I was having issues getting the origin point to register properly for shooting the lasers out. But anyway, you can bring in an object of various types. I'll show you what that is in a second here. These are all image objects, and we're going to go add new object, and then we have all these different types to come up with. So a sprite, a tiled sprite, which is basically backgrounds. A sprite's a 2D actor. A panel sprite, an image with the edges and corners that are stretched separately from the full image. So it's basically the image in the middle is your center, your centerpiece, and then the outside stretches out and pans. So say you had a planet in the middle, and then on the outside it was like a nebula or a star field. You could stretch those outside edges, and they would all stretch out, but it wouldn't distort your planet in the middle. That's kind of what those are used for. 3D model, and that's basically just a model. You bring any model in, set the parameters. The issue I've been having is this origin point thing is kind of funky. It doesn't let me actually pick the point that I want. It lets you choose some things, but they haven't been lining up for me. So I've kind of stayed away from that. Although they're getting there, I think the next release they'll probably fix a bunch of bugs with that system. So, but anyway, it's great 2D engine. I love it. It's like it is my favorite 2D engine. It's so much capable in it. But those are the objects you can add. So there's other objects too, like sounds, joystick input, text boxes. Here, I'll demonstrate by adding a text box. We'll come over here to the start game, add new object. We're going to just add a text box. And I am just going to go, I don't have too many fonts in here right now in this project. I haven't added any extras. We're going to call it Star Craft. And then I'm just going to highlight that. I'm going to choose, we're going to choose a red color. Now we'll go with a bluish color, sure, bluish, a little lighter. Bang, bold, italic. And then color, do I want to outline it? Sure, I want to give it an outline. And I want to go with a lighter blue. Yeah, a little different blue than that. Let's go here and then go here. Yeah, perfect. Apply. And 2 points of thickness. That's fine. Distance 4. Yeah, that's fine. Color 0, 0. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Shadow. I like that. Perfect. I'm going to go. Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm going to leave that alone. Apply. So now we've created this new text, and I'm just going to drag it into my stage. And there it is. Now I don't like the size, so I'm going to edit that. And I'm going to go from 20 to 100. Apply. Perfect. Okay, now I'm going to move that over here. Extend this box. Oh, don't need to really extend it. And now we have, we just preview this level. And there we have. Now the shadow, I think I probably need to go better with the shadow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit that. And I'm going to come down here to shadow, blur radius. We're going to give that a 4, distance, angle 90, opacity, sure. This thickness, we're going to turn this thickness up to 6. And blur radius, we're going to turn that up to 6 as well. Hit preview again. A little better. No, I'm not really liking it. It's but it works. You get the idea. I've thrown text on the screen. Now you can turn that into a button. You can add actions to it, etc., and we'll get into that next. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go add a new object real quick, and I am simply going to go add a box, a sprite, and cancel. Let me just go add new object. I just want to add I don't want to add a 3D box. Panel sprite button. That's fine. And we're just going to go with this one. It looks pretty good. Perfect. Okay. Panel sprite button. Blue button. Bang. We're going to change that from the text. Start game. And we're going to hit apply on that. Perfect. I need to make that button a little bigger, I guess. There we go. Boom. A little longer. Center that. Perfect. All right. And then, so now what I'm going to do is we've got that all good. Let's just take a quick looky-loo. Perfect. We can click it. Doesn't do anything at this point in time. Bang. Now, I could have made that manually. That's how I usually do it. But this had that new feature in there, so I just added it as a quick button. So now what I'm going to do is come over here to this game logic. So what I want to do is add an event. So how the game logic in GDevelop works, and this is where it shines, is it is code snippets. And so it adds it in, and this is a great game engine for people to learn on. It is amazing how easy it is to learn the fundamentals of game development and code by using this particular engine. So there's an engine out there called Scratch, which drags little blocks together that have these little kind of jigsaw pieces, and certain type of block can only connect with another certain type of block, and it's by the shape and the color. The color represents the functionality, the shape represents the connectivity. And so you drag and drop and connect these things together. Well, this is the next step past Scratch. This is actually code that you need to understand and you can look deeper at in order to figure out how the functionality works. However, the code syntax and everything is more or less provided with you in these scriptlets. And so I'm going to demonstrate that right now. We're going to go add condition. And what I'm going to do is I always put in an event called key pressed. Key pressed. So I type in key, and it autofills all the different conditions that need to be met to perform an action. And so this key pressed, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go key pressed, escape key. So I put in ESC for escape, and it has it right here for me. So I just have to click on that and it selects it. So it auto-fills. So like I say, you kind of got to know what you're looking for. You got to know the code functionality, you got to know the condition, and you've got to know the actions. However, it has a nice autofill function for you that really helps you figure out what you need. And then of course you can go in and edit those afterwards. But what we're going to do is, so this condition is any key pressed, and then it's this key here, escape key, and I'm going to choose OK. So now it's like, if this condition is met, perform this action. Well, we don't have an action. So I'm going to go, and I'm going to type in quit the game. And that's it. That's what I want right there. And I'm going to hit OK. Boom. So now I'm just going to hit preview, and we're going to see if that works. All right, so now we're in here. This doesn't do anything. I hit the escape key on the keyboard, and we've quit the game. Back to the editor. So that functionality works. I put that, or I like to put that functionality in all of my scenes for all of my games, because then it's just an easy way when you're testing in order to exit out and come back into the editor. So now I want to set up that function to go to the other scene. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go add condition, and I'm going to go mouse button released. So we're going to choose the mouse button. I'm going to choose left mouse button released. OK. And I'm going to go blue button. Oh, actually, cancel. I did that wrong. Sorry about that. No, I don't want to do that yet. Delete. Perfect. Add a condition. So what I want to do is I want to select that object, that blue button. So the condition that affects this blue button. Now I want to choose mouse button is clicked. Perfect. Check the button was just clicked, so that's perfect. That's what we want. You can invert the, so it's not, so you have the ability for any of these things that you set up, any of these actions, to invert the condition. So this would be if it wasn't clicked, do something, something. And you would use that maybe if it's like a recheck variables or check a position or a coordinate or something like that. You would then maybe put that on. There's times when you use it and it's very useful. However, in this case, we just want to check that on the blue button is clicked. We want to go here, change scene, change the scene, and we want to choose leave space dock. Okay, boom. So now we're going to preview this. You can see here, blue button is clicked. Change the scene to leave space dock because we're starting on the start scene. Preview. Escape exit. Preview again. Start game. Takes us to leaving space dock. And I have the WSA key set to move around the screen for this. There you go. So that is the basics, and you can set up all sorts of functionality. You can bring in all sorts of layers. Oh, that's the other thing I should show you. So I'll just show you on here. So if I go to leave space dock, you can set up objects. I'm just going to add this phaser onto the scene just to show you. And so what we have over here is this ship is on Z order 3. There's its XY coordinates, which for 3D objects, you really work with those a lot. Angles are more for the 2D. However, Z order 3 is used for spaceships, for actors, for whatever. You always want 1 or 2 below the Z order. You can work on the base layer, but I like to keep a layer of distance for parallaxing. Now, if you were standing right on the ground like a two-legged character or something, you'd put that Z order 1. But for like a spaceship, I like Z order 3. So then we come over here to this. Oh, if I can click on it. I'm clicked on my ground, which is Z order 1, my space tile here. I don't want to click on it. I'm going to come down here to my instance list, and I am going to click on my ship, and then I'm going to, no. I'll click on my phaser 1. So you can select your objects down here as well, like some object, what's the word I'm looking for? Some object navigators. This isn't the objects in the scene. This is objects to be placed. They are in the scene, but you could drag multiple instances in. Sorry. This is the objects in the scene, and they're all kind of given an ID down here, and the Z order. So you can see this phaser 1 is on Z order 4, which you can also see down here in the Z order layer. Now, if I wanted to put a text scene in here, so let me go add a text. And we're just going to call this GUI1, and we're going to call this energy. Sure, that's fine. We're going to go there. We're going to go from 20. We're going to move this up to something easy to see, 60, and we're going to change it from black to red just because of that. We'll go the green. Sure, green energy. Sure, that's fine. I don't need anything else. Outlines enabled, and we're going to go white, and we're going to go thickness of the outline 4. Apply. Okay. Then we're just going to take this, and we're going to put this here. So now when I play this level, now you can preview the level that you're on. You can see that my ship drives underneath that, and if I go down, oh, it's not following my ship, so escape, we'll have to fix that. So basically what we want to do is we want to come here, and we're going to go at the beginning of the scene, add an action. Oh, wait, no, I have sent, this one here. Wait a sec. Center on the ship. Ah, I see. That's what I want. Okay. Preview. I have the 3D model still referenced in there. There we go. So now we're scrolling through infinite space, but you can see that that energy for my GUI that I want for my GUI, it doesn't quite look right. So we're going to escape out of there, and what we need to do is we need to tell this that it's on a new layer. So I have to come over here and add a layer, And that layer where is it here? Layer. I've added the layer. I just need to. There it is. Sorry. And we're going to call it GUI. Okay. Then what we're going to do is select this, and we're going to assign that to the GUI layer. So now that it's assigned to this special layer called GUI, if we preview, oh, see now it's staying on the screen in that location. So ideally what I would do is, I'm zoomed in pretty big on my screen, and you can see here this bounding box that represents your viewable on screen. So I'm going to take that, drag it up to this corner. Now I can create another text box and set that to a variable number, and then say I run into little things here and collect them up. That would power up, and then that would stay on the GUI. But see now when I fly around here, that energy stays in place on the screen because it's part of the GUI layer that sits many layers up above the ship. And then so this could be this little red dot. I can make that instead of a phaser, I could make that as like a energon cube, and you pick it up or whatever. So anyway, but that's the basics. There's not much more to show you, just to get your foot in the door and play around with GDevelop. So there is more to do with the 3D, there's more to do with the coding, there's more to do with the different objects and how to place them and stuff, but they're all more or less the same. So this is what you need to know to get started with this game engine. It's a really good game engine. It's an excellent learning game engine if you just want to learn. It can run on pretty much any machine. It also has a web browser interface. So you can actually just pull it up, and it also has an account. You can get a free account, or you can store X amount or whatever. And it's very cheap if you want more than a free account. If you want an indie license account, a pro account, or a collaborative enterprise account or whatever, there is more to it. You just go over to gdevelop.com, download it, you're good to go. You can even just play in the engine in a web browser. So if you're a Mac person and you want to play around with a little bit of game development, shoot on over to the website, and it just runs in HTML5 in the browser. So, and all these HTML5 technologies, the WebGPU, WebGL, they're all just getting better and better and better and more capable. That really is kind of where a lot of indie game development is going, towards these technologies, because they've just come so far in the last 3 or 4 years, like maybe even the last 5 years. But really the last year, it's been huge, because we've gone from WebGL 1, 2, and now to WebGPU, APU, which is GPUs like the PC version, APUs like the Mac version, but it's the same technology under the hood. Whether you say GPU, APU, I just roll them both together. But the technology is just, it's stunning. Game engines are getting better and better. GDevelop is an amazing starter, and I would actually recommend this for education. Teachers should be teaching it in the class. It gives you that code structure. It teaches you all about hierarchy, objects, gets you used to the more or less standardized interface. They vary again between different products. However, they're all more or less the same layout as this. You've got basically your stage in the middle, and your thing. I covered it earlier, but it's just great. And then the coding, scripting, the event system that they use, it's great because you get to understand structural conditions, events. This is basically, if you do this, then this. It's an amazing way to learn the basic fundamentals of programming for anybody. So that's basically all I wanted to do today. I wanted to cover the GDevelop, the 2D game engine of my choice, and I think it's an amazing game engine. And that's the first one in the playlist here, so hopefully you stick with me and follow along. Have a great day.